Fate wasn't done with Amanda and Jerry as Auntie Margaret arrived one morning unexpectedly. The elder sister, too late, Jerry's wife, entered the living room where they sat chatting. She accused Jerry of using her late sister for ritual and moving on to Italy by marrying a poor waitress and turning her into a millionaire restaurant owner in Lagos. She didn't knock or pause, standing in the middle of the marble floor, chest heaving. Her voice was sharp as she spat, pointing a trembling finger directly at Jerry. "I know you belong to an evil occult group," she declared with fierce conviction. "You used your evil to kill my younger sister during childbirth," she continued angrily. "Yes, you renewed your wealth with her blood," Auntie Margaret accused him vehemently. "And now you think you can move on by marrying a poor waitress," she sneered. "Turning her into a millionaire, owner of the best restaurant in Lagos," she added. "You can't fool me. You can't deceive all of us," she shouted defiantly. The room went still, like a portrait on the wall watching the scene. Jerry's late wife seemed to observe over everything like a quiet spirit. "My sister deserves justice," Auntie Margaret cried out with deep emotion. "Amanda doesn't belong here," she insisted, glaring at the younger woman. "You can't use my sister for sacrifice and bring a stranger to enjoy wealth. Jerry, you are evil and deserve to be in prison," she proclaimed loudly. "I don't even know why my sister's spirit hasn't hunted you down yet, so the world can see your wickedness." She finished her tirade. Footsteps thundered in the hallway as security rushed in from outside. "Sir?" the chief guard asked, already moving to restrain the angry woman. Jerry raised a hand calmly and said, "Stand down. Let her speak." Auntie Margaret stared, stunned that he would allow her to continue. But Jerry's eyes held no anger, only a deep, quiet sadness within. Amanda stood slowly, her face calm, but hands tight at her sides. She swallowed the heat rising in her chest and spoke softly. "Madame, please calm down," Amanda said with gentle composure. "What you said is not true," she assured the older woman. "I know my husband. He can never do such a thing," Amanda defended. "I believe you have been listening to people who don't like him." Amanda's words were gentle, but they fell like a hammer on Auntie Margaret. A shadow flashed in the older woman's eyes, hurt twisting into rage. "You?" Auntie Margaret hissed, stepping close with menacing intent. "You think you can speak to me?" she questioned angrily. "You think you can rewrite history because he gave you fancy clothes and a big name?" Auntie Margaret continued her verbal assault. "Auntie, please," Jerry said, rising from the sofa with palms open. "We don't have to fight." He pleaded for peace. But Margaret had come prepared for war, her hand moving like a blur. She tugged at the edge of her wrapper, pulling out a small kitchen knife, its metal throat catching the morning light as she brandished it. "No!" Jerry shouted in alarm as the scene escalated dangerously. Amanda's eyes widened, but there was no time to react properly. The knife lunged forward, and Amanda crumpled with a gasp of pain, hands flying to her stomach as the white blouse bloomed red. She sank to her knees, and then to the floor, breath broken, eyes glassy with shock as blood spread across the marble. "Amanda," Jerry dropped beside her, his suit soaking in blood. "Amanda, stay with me. Look at me, please," he begged desperately. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "Please, save me. I don't want to leave my daughter behind," she pleaded weakly. "Save me, I don't want to die," Amanda said faintly, her head tilted, eyes rolling back as consciousness faded. Sirens rose from deep inside the house as the ambulance team alerted. Security pinned Auntie Margaret's arms as she tried to bolt. "What have I done? What have I done?" she stammered, eyes wild, voice breaking as regret washed over her suddenly. "Call the police," Jerry said, voice steady, despite the chaos. Now they carried Amanda out on a stretcher to the ambulance. Jerry running alongside, one hand clamped around hers tightly, the other trying to hold pressure over the bleeding wound. Blood smeared his sleeves, but he didn't care at all. He only saw her face in that desperate moment. In the back of the ambulance, the siren screamed through Lagos traffic. Jerry bent over Amanda, tears streaking his cheeks uncontrollably. "Amanda, please stay with us. I need you," he whispered. "Juliana needs you. Affliction shall not rise a second time. No, not again. Please, please," Jerry pleaded fervently. Amanda didn't answer, her pulse fluttering like a trapped bird. They hurtled through the gates of Lagos University Teaching Hospital. The lawyer opened the file, revealing printed screenshots inside. Phone records, bank slips, names, dates, amounts, all documented. He tapped a particular page with emphasis. "This one stands out. A repeated cash transfer to Auntie Margaret from an unknown source filtered through 2 shell accounts, and the phone number that messaged her before the attack. Sir, it routes to a business competitor of yours, a man who has been trying to dirty your name for years. Jerry's jaw tightened, but he didn't speak immediately. Amanda's fingers curled around the chair in tension. Who? She asked, voice steady despite the fear. The lawyer looked up, grave expression on his face. Jonathan, he revealed, the name hanging heavy. The room went quiet. Outside, palm trees whispered softly. Amanda glanced at Jerry, fear and fire in her eyes. Why would he? She questioned, seeking understanding. Jerry's phone lit up on the desk, vibrating sharply. An unknown number flashed once, then again insistently. He stared at the screen as the call persisted. Amanda reached for his hand in support. Jerry answered, and a voice slid across the line. Cold and steady, it said, if you want the whole truth, come alone. The voice instructed before cutting off. Amanda swallowed hard and said, Jerry. His eyes lifted to the balcony doors, where Lagos burned gold. We're not done, he said quietly with resolve. Not yet, Jerry added, determination in his voice. Jerry did not sleep that night. The phone call replaying, if you want the whole truth, come alone, echoed repeatedly. Amanda sat beside him on the balcony under city lights. Stretching to the water, she said at last, don't go alone, Amanda advised with concern. People who hide their names also hide their hearts. Jerry took her hand and reassured her gently. I won't be careless, but we need the truth. Not just for us, for peace, he explained. Morning came with a grey sky over the city. A message dropped on Jerry's phone with a location. A quiet car park behind an old cinema in Surala. He told security to hang back 2 streets away. He wore a plain shirt and a cap for disguise. He drove himself to the meeting point alone. The car park was almost empty when he arrived. A young man in a faded shirt stepped from shade, looking left and right like a bird, knowing traps. You called me? Jerry asked the nervous man. The man nodded and introduced himself quickly. My name is Musa. I worked in accounts for Jonathan. The name tasted bitter on his tongue as he spoke. I have files, transfers, messages, orders, Musa explained. He paid people to spread lies about you. He paid Auntie Margaret to through 2 shell accounts, so she would believe you killed your wife. He told her he would help get justice if she helped destroy you, Musa added with a shaky voice. Another footsteps. Men in black hoodies stepped out, from behind a wall, approaching with menace. Musa's eyes went wide in fear. They followed me, he whispered in panic. Jerry didn't move, lifted the flash drive calmly, slipped it into his pocket, raised both hands slowly. The hooded men drew closer, demanding aggressively. Hand it over, one said threateningly. Now from the street, engines roared loudly. 2 SUVs swept in and stopped hard abruptly. Jerry's security poured out, forming a protective wall. Gentlemen, Jerry said quietly but firmly. You should leave, he advised the intruders. The men turned to run, but the gate closed. Within minutes, police who watched from outside arrived, took the men away in custody swiftly. Jerry walked Musa to his car safely. You did the right thing, he encouraged. My office will protect you. We'll help find safe work. Musa nodded, tears bright in his eyes. Please don't let him hurt anyone else, he begged. Jerry drove away with the flash drive in pocket, like a small heavy truth weighing on him. Back at the mansion, Amanda listened as Jerry played files. The screen filled with bank statements, voice notes, chat logs. Jonathan's voice appeared more than once in recordings. Make sure the sister believes it, he instructed. Pain blinds faster than lies, Jonathan said coldly. Pay the bloggers, say he belongs to a cult, say he buys blood with money, he continued. If the girl acts reckless, good, Jonathan noted. Chaos makes noise, we will finish him in the noise. Amanda covered her mouth, eyes stinging with tears. He used her grief like a tool, she realized. Jerry nodded slowly, and he let it stab you. They sent the files to their lawyer and police. An investigation opened at once without delay. The men from the car park began to talk. More employees stepped forward, fear falling away, as the case rose like a wave building. Still, Amanda's heart could not rest easily. She stood at the window watching the sky for rain. Why? She asked Jerry that night quietly. Why do people break others to feel strong? Jerry wrapped his arm around her shoulders comfortingly. Because they think power lives in cruelty, but it doesn't. Power lives in truth and in kindness that does not bend. Weeks later, The police moved on Jonathan decisively. He was picked up at his office, holding a pen. He smiled for the cameras as they led him away. At the first hearing, his lawyers built a shield, with words like fabrication, business rivalry, fake voice notes, but the flash drive did not lie at all. Neither did the men who chose to tell truth. After years of fear, the court released him on bail, while the case grew bigger and sharper around him. Amanda and Jerry did not speak to reporters. They went to work, prayed at night, faithfully, loved their daughter Juliana louder, holding her longer, each morning before school, cherishing every moment. One evening, Amanda surprised Jerry with her words. "I want to visit Auntie Margaret," she said. Jerry looked up from his desk in surprise. "Now, not now," Amanda clarified softly. "But one day, I want peace in my heart." Jerry nodded slowly and promised support. "When you are ready, I will go with you." The seasons turned, the city changed, clothes accordingly. Raincoat, then dust, then heat, in cycles. Amanda's scar faded to a thin line gradually. Kindness Restaurant bloomed like a garden after storms. Its tables always full, doors always open, welcoming. Customers said the food tasted of home warmly. Amanda always smiled and said, "It tastes of grace." Jerry's case against Jonathan pressed forward steadily. On a wet afternoon, their lawyer brought news. 2 witnesses flipped, he said, tapping a folder. They claimed Jonathan planned more than lies alone. He wanted to set up a fake procurement scandal. "In your company, force a board vote to remove you." Jerry sighed and said, "We will not let bitterness lead. We want justice, not revenge," he emphasized. The lawyer nodded. "That posture is helping us. Judges read hearts, too," he added wisely. That night, Amanda stood with Jerry on the balcony. The lagoon was dark and quiet below them. "Do you know what I keep hearing?" she asked. "What?" A whisper from Jerry in response. "If you had died, what would we have become?" Jerry's throat tightened as he pondered the thought. "Do you know what I keep hearing?" he replied. What? A second whisper from Amanda curiously. "If kindness had not stood up that day in restaurant, what story would we be telling tonight?" He wondered. Amanda leaned into him, finding comfort there. "Then we must keep choosing it," she decided. "We will," Jerry said with firm conviction. 3 years turned like pages in a book. In that time, the case against Jonathan crawled and leaped, twisted and straightened through legal proceedings. One judge was transferred, another took over duties. Evidence grew, the public learned to wait patiently. On a quiet morning, Amanda said she was ready. "For what?" Jerry asked, seeking clarification. "To visit Auntie Margaret," Amanda replied determinedly. They drove to the prison together that day. The air was hot, and still inside. A fan clicked slowly in the visitors' hall. A guard checked their names, led them to table. Then Amanda remembered. Head tie plain, eyes heavy, with the sleep of concrete rooms surrounding her. She went to her knees, crying out loudly. "I'm sorry, I am sorry, I am sorry." Amanda's eyes filled with tears at the sight. She reached for her and said, "Please stand, Auntie." Margaret rose slowly, hands shaking uncontrollably. "I let my grief become a knife," Margaret admitted. Jerry swallowed and said, "It almost cut our family in two," he finished with quiet sorrow. "I know," she wept. "I see it every night. I see the blood. See your face, Amanda. I want to tear my heart out," she cried. Amanda reached both hands across the table gently, took Margaret's fingers and said, "I forgive you." Jerry placed his hand over theirs in unity. The three of them stood like that for long, for one still moment of profound connection. When they sat, Amanda offered hope carefully. "To review your case, present new evidence, show how you were manipulated," Amanda explained. "We can offer a plan for supervision, work, counseling. We cannot undo the wound, but stop bleeding forever." But their hearts cool and light with relief. Jerry kissed her forehead tenderly and said, "You taught me that," he acknowledged lovingly. The review took months of careful consideration. The Attorney General studied the file thoroughly. The court reopened the case for resentencing in light of new evidence and victim's plea. For restorative justice, the CCTV remained true. The wound remained real, but story changed around it. The judge's eyes were clear as he spoke. Punishment teaches, but so does mercy when earned. Auntie Margaret was released under strict supervision, with community service and counseling required, crying and smiling at the same time joyfully. Others said they were brave for showing mercy. Amanda simply said, "Love is not weak, it is work," she added, with conviction. Not as a guest of honor, but as helper. She wiped tables, learned the menu diligently, watched how Amanda greeted people by name warmly. She said please and thank you until natural. Slowly, the shame in her eyes cooled down to a quiet gratitude that grew stronger. One afternoon, she found Amanda in the kitchen, stirring jollof rice with care and attention. "I want to do more," Margaret said earnestly. Amanda smiled and encouraged her gently. "Then, be new. Start with the small things." If you enjoyed this story, comment, share, and subscribe.